Good evening, good day, or good morning, regardless. Good to see you back here on the channel. My name is Lukas, and before I forget, if you actually end up watching the entire video, then you will learn how to save up to 13,000 Taiwanese dollars and get a free round-trip ticket from Europe to here to Taiwan. This is not a scam, this is also not a contest, which means that every single one of you watching will actually be able to save this amount of money. All you have to do is to watch until the end. Today, I'm gonna try to once again tackle the impossible task of trying to explain all the reasons for why I love living here in Taiwan. There's an old saying that you cannot put a price on happiness, which might be true, but something that is definitely true is that the lower the price, the higher the happiness. So in this video, I want to focus to one of the key factors for my high level of happiness living here in Taiwan, and that is the affordable cost of living, which makes it possible to still live a luxurious life here in Taiwan, although my actual bank account is not that impressive. So we will cover the food, accommodation, and then some shopping, and in my case, electronics in general. And to make this comparison and video as fair as possible, these four categories will be compared in three different ways. On a budget, aka if you are a poor exchange student trying to come here to Taiwan to study Chinese. We will also compare these prices in the form of an average Lukas Engström, who now have been here in Taiwan for almost 10 years. And for pure comparisons reasons, we will also check what the equivalent would be if I would still be working back home in Sweden. So first things first, and I don't know about you, but I at least start every day with a breakfast. Bacon dumpling is my go-to breakfast every weekend morning. I will have 2 of those, and that will be a total of 70 NT since they are 35 each. But most of the time I only have 2 bananas, which will only set me back 28 NT, and which I think will qualify as the budget option here in Taiwan, which is great if you still want to have a delicious breakfast here in Taiwan in the shape of Taiwanese fruit for less than 30 NT. A normal traditional Swedish breakfast would be, I guess, a sandwich with ham and cheese served with a glass of milk, and I think the cost of that would be around 60 to 70 NT. But for the sake of this comparison video, if you actually want to go out to a restaurant or a cafe trying to buy your breakfast in Sweden, I think that will set you back at least 150 NT regardless of where you are. Moving over to lunch, you have probably seen countless of other food videos talking about all the delicious and very cheap food we have here in Taiwan. I'm just gonna quickly mention saying that if you are here in Taiwan on a budget, you can easily get away with a very nice delicious lunchbox for around 80 to 90 NT. Lukas Engström, on the other hand, have gotten a little bit tired of this very simple and plain lunch boxes, so I think we're gonna increase his food budget for lunch to around 200 NT, which by pure coincidence also happens to be the minimum order you need to get with the Uber Eats Eat Pass to get a free delivery. But if you do decide to go out to a restaurant to have a lunch in Sweden, then most restaurants will have lunch of today, which is one predetermined lunch course served with salad, bread, and maybe a glass of water if you're lucky, for around 90 Swedish crowns, which equals more or less 300 Taiwanese dollars. Moving over to dinner, and if you are here on Taiwan on a budget, you will probably order the exact same lunch box as a dinner box as well, or maybe you will go out to one of the many night markets where you definitely can eat you full for less than 100 NT. Lukas Engström also tends to order the same thing for dinner as he had for lunch, which again is a Uber Eats order of around 200 Taiwanese dollars, unless he decides to go out and eat on maybe a Western restaurant, for example TGI Fridays, chicken Caesar salad, 460 Taiwanese dollars. Not entirely sure why I know that, not sponsored, but delicious. And if you for some reason want to go out and have dinner at a restaurant in Sweden, a dinner at a standard, normal, not fancy restaurant at all in Sweden will set you back at least 1,000 NT. And now over to another cost that I think we all have in common as well, which of course is rent. Now obviously the actual rent itself can vary a lot depending on your living quality and also where you are living. For example, if you're living in Taipei or pretty much anywhere else other than Taipei here in Taiwan, since the rent in Taipei city specifically is a lot more expensive than the rest of Taiwan. And based on my 100% personal experience, I know that you can go down as low as 6,000 NT dollars per month, but still living here in Taipei city if you are on a budget and do not care that your room is not larger than 2 double beds. Definitely not something I recommend. I think having a budget on around 10,000 Taiwanese dollars is a little bit more realistic, since you for only 6,000 Taiwanese dollars literally will need to have more roommates in the apartment than square meters in the room. For someone like Lukas Engström, before he moved into this 3-room apartment with YONGHE, he actually lived in one studio apartment in Gongguan with a separate bedroom, a separate living room, and a separate bathroom, which would have been very weird if it would not have been a separate bathroom. I just mean I didn't share my bathroom with someone else, where he paid 20,000 Taiwanese dollars. Now, in comparison, the rent I paid in Sweden was actually lower than the rent I paid both in Gongguan living all by myself and the rent I'm paying now, although I am now sharing with YONGHE as well. Now, to be fair, now I live pretty much in the middle of Taipei city, and before in Sweden I lived in the outskirts of Jönköping, which is a very average Swedish city. I think it's around 100,000 people, whereas now I have the middle of Taipei city literally outside my door. Now, obviously, I cannot cover price comparisons on every single thing you could possibly shop here in Taipei, simply because the entire city are just filled with department stores, shopping malls, and night markets literally everywhere. But just for comparison purposes, I quickly want to mention something that is very close to my heart, which you all should know by now, and that is, of course, electronics. But if I want to cover every single piece of electronics, that by itself would need its own YouTube video. So I'm just gonna cover all the electronics that I have bought from one single company, which is all my Apple products. Okay, so we're gonna start with the most expensive item right away, which is the MacBook Pro 16-inch. Here in Taiwan, it's 104,900, which is just painful to be reminded about. But if I would have bought the exact same computer from the exact same company, but in Sweden, I would have paid 138,377 Taiwanese dollars, which makes me very happy that I am actually living here in Taiwan. And as if that was not enough, if we check my iPhone 12 Pro 256GB, that is 41,400. But in Sweden, it would have actually been 50,836. My iPad Air 4 was 23,900. In Sweden, it would have been 29,749. My Apple Watch 6 was 13,900, which is cheaper than the 16,384 Taiwanese dollars it would have costed in Sweden. So if we are putting all these numbers together, that means that only for these 4 products I have spent 184,100 Taiwanese dollars. So if you do come across any ads in either this or future videos, please do take some extra time to watch those ads a little bit longer, since that will give me a little bit extra revenue, since all these items, okay, to be fair, maybe not the Apple Watch, but all the other items are essential for me to be able to continue making these videos week after week. iPad, not really. Phone, okay. My computer. I need my computer in order to make these videos week after week. But, and this is where I keep the promise that I made in the beginning of this video, because if you actually instead would have bought all of these items in Sweden, you would have paid 215,346 Taiwanese dollars, which means that by buying everything in Taiwan, you actually save 31,246 Taiwanese dollars by buying 4 items, which is just insane. And I actually checked how much does a plane ticket from Sweden to Taiwan and back home again cost, and that was only 18,248, which means that if you live in Sweden, you can actually buy a ticket from Sweden to Taiwan, buy all of these items at apple.com, fly back home again, and you still would have saved 12,998 NT, which is just insane. And as if that was not enough, if you want to save even more, you can also use ShopBack, which by pure coincidence also is the sponsor of today's video. Now, I do urge you to do yourself a favor and listen through my entire explanation, because in the end, I will teach you how you can set this up so ShopBack will be running in the background, which means that you don't even have to remember that you have it on your computer. It will still work in the background, making sure that you actually get real money back for more or less every purchase you do online. But first things first, and if you never heard about ShopBack, the only thing you need to know actually is that ShopBack is a network of other online stores. So if you will go to shopback.com, you will see a list of over 400 other online stores. For example, they have PC Home, Booking.com, Food Panda. I mean, that's like 99% of all my online purchases right there. But they also have more brand specific ones. For example, Superdry.com, Nike.com, and Apple.com. And this makes me so upset, because I did a calculation of this, and if I would have known that I could have actually bought all of these items, still buy them on Apple.com, but just via the ShopBack network, I would have saved 2,890 NT. Real money just like that, because with ShopBack, you're not getting store credit, you're not getting coupon codes, you're actually getting real money back. And although the only thing you would have to do to, in my case, save almost 3,000 Taiwanese dollars is to first visit shopback.com, this is actually the least convenient way of using ShopBack, since they both have an app and a Google Chrome extension as well. Now, we are living in the year of 2021, so I am pretty sure that every single one knows what an app is and how it works. It's just a list of all the 400 stores that ShopBack are working with. This is also a great way to actually see all the other kinds of online stores you can actually buy from, since you can search by categories such as travel, electronics, and even food. And if you are like me, doing most of your spontaneous purchases on your phone when you're bored, either on the MRT or, let's face it, on the toilet, this would be a great way to get cash back on those purchases as well. But this is still not my absolute favorite way of accessing ShopBack, because as you all should know by now, I am very lazy, and although I could literally save thousands of Taiwanese dollars simply by either visiting one app or a website before I make my purchase, I think we all know that we actually would not really do that every single time. And if we're visiting a new website, most of the time we would even forget about ShopBack, and we see this product we want, we will just go in and order it right away. And that is exactly why their Google Chrome extension is the absolute best thing I've ever heard of. All you have to do is actually just go to the Chrome extension store. If you are not using Chrome as your web browser, then one, you should definitely use Chrome as your web browser. And what this ShopBack extension does is that it actually recognizes all the other online stores that is part of the ShopBack network. So after you have installed this extension, all you have to do is nothing, because if you do actually go into one of these other web stores, it would actually pop up automatically and recognize that this website is part of the ShopBack network. And then all you have to do is just click activate, and then ShopBack will actually do everything in the background and make sure that you actually get that cash back on all your purchases as well. As if that was not enough, and I've lost track on how much money I have saved you in this video. Only thing you have to do is to click on my referral link in the description, then both you and I will get 100 NT as a welcome bonus. And then once you have signed up, you can also take part of this referral program, so you will get your own link which you can invite your friends with, and then you and your friend will get another 100 NT. So to summarize, if you live in Sweden, just don't move here to Taiwan. Come here as soon as possible so you can start saving money just like I have. And if you live in Taiwan, please do at least strongly consider signing up for ShopBack so you can start saving money as well, since again, it's 100% free. And something else that is also 100% free is of course liking this video and subscribing to my channel to show your support and to encourage me making more videos just like this one week after week. That was everything I had to share this time. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lukas. Starts with L as in like, ends with S as in subscribe. Please do both, and see you all in the next one.